Good morning. My name is Lucy Sandell, and I work at the Career Development Team here at the University of Chicago. I'm delighted to welcome you to this segment of our webinar entitled Connect with Students in Your City. My presenter today, and I'm glad to have him, is Mason Heller. Mason hails originally from San Francisco Bay Area and graduated from the University of Chicago in 2015. While in college, he majored in political science and was president of the co-ed a cappella group, Voices in Your Head. While he started as a tour guide in the admissions office as a second year, he is now an assistant director of admissions covering the states of Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia, and is director of the Alumni Schools Committee. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. So what exactly is the Alumni Schools Committee? The Alumni Schools Committee is a group of over 4,000 alumni from both the college and different graduate divisions and professional schools. So any alumni of the university can join the ASC. It's housed in the Office of College Admissions, and basically is a group of people who help us in recruitment and enrollment efforts for college students. So a little bit about the composition of the ASC. We have volunteers from a wide range of class years, all the way as early as 1942 to the most recent class, 2017. All 50 states and the District of Columbia are represented in the ASC, as well as around 47 countries. So it's the single largest volunteer organization at the University of Chicago. Alumni volunteer organization. And what do people do in the ASC? Primarily, they conduct alumni interviews with prospective students. They also might staff local college fairs or attend local admissions events in their area. In addition to having all these volunteers, we also have about 60 different ASC chairs who are leaders in the ASC and assign out interview assignments and kind of cover a certain region and lead ASC activities in that area. So that's a little bit about what the ASC exactly is. And why is the ASC so important? For many students, meeting an alumnus or alumna of the university is their first interaction, or maybe their only interaction with someone who actually attended the University of Chicago. So these volunteers have great power in shaping and transforming students' understanding of the university and the unique opportunities that it can offer students. So as a ASC volunteer, your primary role is really as an ambassador of the university. And you're also giving helpful feedback on applicants to admissions committee when you're interviewing students. And what does the time commitment look like? It's very flexible. Volunteers can really volunteer on their own schedule. The average number of interviews completed by a volunteer is 3 per cycle, but you may conduct as few as 1 or as many as 10 or more if you so choose. We see a wide range of different levels of involvement. The interview itself can last between 30 and 75 minutes, depending on your schedule and the flow of conversation. And then there's additional write-up that you submit that takes another about 20 minutes. But you really can, make it work to your schedule and your timing. The interviews themselves take place in October through February, and college fairs mainly occur during the evenings and weekends in the fall and spring. And additionally, in the spring is a lot of our admitted student yield events. And so how do you join? Now you're interested and you're thinking, wow, the ASC sounds just for me. It's very simple. You just go online, register at asc.uchicago.edu/volunteer. asc.uchicago.edu, that's our website. And you can contact us by emailing alumnischoolscom@uchicago.edu or by calling our admissions office, 773-702-8650. I myself am the director of the ASC, and you're welcome to reach out whatever prompts your inquiry. And so I'm reachable at masonnheller@uchicago.edu or on the phone at 773-834-4109. But thank you so much for listening in, learning a bit more about the ASC and how to connect with prospective students interested in UChicago and spreading your love and your experience with the university.
Mason, I have a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Great. Is there any kind of training that a volunteer goes through to be a ASC
Yes.
volunteer?
Yes, there is. So kind of the sort of the the crux of that is our ASC volunteer manual. So once a volunteer signs up, they get this online PDF where they can really go into detail about all the different aspects of how to interview, different techniques you can use, how to do a college fair, the general admissions timeline. So that's really your go-to source is the manual. We also do in-person trainings in Chicago on campus for different alumni interview days where we house alumni in our admissions office to interview students on campus. And we also do sometimes interview trainings in different cities around the country with those ASC chairs. And so that's kind of how that looks like. But really the interview is meant to be a free-flowing conversation, right? When we give guidance in terms of what kind of topics and questions we'd like you to hit throughout the interview, but as an interviewer, you have a lot of freedom to, make it an interesting and engaging conversation.
Great, thank you. You mentioned earlier that you have over 4,000 volunteers, and that's incredibly impressive. Congratulations. Are there any cities that you are particularly hoping to get more volunteers for?
Absolutely. Some areas where we see a lot of growing interest in students who would like to have an alumni interview, and maybe where it's a little bit more difficult to get themselves to campus. We see a lot of interest on the West Coast, particularly in California, in the Southeast, in Florida, and as well as Texas. So really anywhere. We're always happy to take on more volunteers. I think those areas especially we see a lot of interest from students and are always sort of reaching out to volunteers to help. So if you're in those areas, definitely there's room for you to get involved and to have an impact.
Great. And I have one last question. What is, and maybe this is not terribly easy to answer, but what is a typical length of time that somebody is an ASC volunteer?
Most ASC volunteers stick around. This is something that I think that they really enjoy and find rewarding. It's really exciting to meet these curious and engaged students who are very eager to learn about U Chicago, and then who, ultimately some, get admitted and come to U Chicago, and maybe you stay connected with them afterwards, and so. It can be a really exciting thing. So many volunteers stay on and continue to volunteer even if they've moved to another city or a different country. They'll still stay involved. It's really can be a rich and rewarding experience for throughout your years. Typically, when maybe volunteers feel like they're not as connected to the undergraduate experience, they may, decide to retire from the ASC. But really, we see, people continuing to stay involved.
Great. It sounds like a really enjoyable experience for people, very rewarding, as you said. Thank you so much, Mason, for your time and giving us the opportunity to contact you or to email alumnischools.com@uchicago.edu directly. Again, thank you for your time. It's been very interesting, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Bye, everyone.